Welcome to Talking Comfort Live, a video podcast where HVAC professionals go for fun, learning, and sharing, while exploring the world of mini splits, heat pumps, and the inverter technology that brings efficient comfort to our fascinating industry. We're looking for you to be a part of the show. If you have a question, whether it centers around application, installation, preventative maintenance, troubleshooting, a future technology, or anything we share on the show, send it our way by clicking the question mark icon to the right of your screen. Now, on to Talking Comfort Live.
Welcome back. We'd like to thank you for your participation during last month's show. Today, we're going to be covering even more interesting topics that affect you and your place in the HVAC world. And we're counting on you to get involved. So as a reminder, if you have questions or comments anytime during the broadcast, use the question mark icon to the right of the screen and send those questions our way. After the GREE Comfort team talks for a bit, we'll regroup at the end of the session and start answering any relevant questions until our time runs out. Here's a rundown of what we're covering today. We're going to start off with a technical tip from Greg Brunts that covers some important things to know when installing a wall controller on a MultiPRO high wall. Then we'll hear from Justin Sylsberry as he updates us on the latest in GREE Comfort. Next, Daniel will offer another technical tip with an easy-to-understand, step-by-step walkthrough of how to do a 4-point temperature check, followed by a clip from Tatiana as she experienced all the buzz around the heat pumps at last month's AHR show in Chicago. And finally, I will have a conversation with my friend Keith Clark with ICM Controls, and I want to hear his take on why we need voltage monitoring and surge protection with inverter products and what the best solutions are currently in the market. Again, this is your opportunity to connect with us and become more comfortable with the latest in GREE Comfort. With that said, let's send it over to Greg Brunts, who's coming from our Atlanta training studio. Greg?
Hi, Greg with GREE here from our labs down here in Atlanta. Listen, I want to share with you today that if you need to install a wired controller on a MultiPRO wall mount unit, they don't have the H1 and H2 terminals like you would see in a lot of the other MultiPRO equipment. But you can install a wired controller. Remember, on the wired controllers on MultiPRO systems, on the back of the wired controller it has an H1 and H2 connection. And you just use a 18-2 stranded wire going from there to the indoor unit. So if you need to hook up a wired controller, this is how you're going to do it. So let's jump right into it. And this has already got a wired controller hooked up to it, but you're going to find these yellow and white wires dangling down, and they'll be terminated in a Molex plug. All you need to do is cut off that black Molex plug and wire nut your H1 and H2 wires directly to that yellow and white wire. And again, with all MultiPRO systems on the wired controllers, they're not polarity sensitive, so you don't need to worry about which one is which when you hook it up. So you just pick one wire on white, one wire on yellow, and it doesn't matter on the back of the wire controller whether that's going to H1 or H2. So I hope that helps you in installing a wire controller on a MultiPRO wall mount unit that does not have the H1, H2 connections. So just remember, with GREE, we're always by your side.
Thank you, Greg. That's an excellent way to explain the proper way to install the controller and to avoid those costly callbacks. Okay, now, Justin, I'm going to turn it over to you to give us the latest in GREE Comfort. Justin?
All right, this is our Versati monoblock air-to-water heat pump. We call it a monoblock because all of the refrigerant exchange is done in the outdoor unit. You don't need to install a separate hydro box inside, so it makes it much more convenient to install. The system has 5 great modes. You can do space heating and cooling with hydronic fan coils. You can do radiant in-floor heating. You can do domestic hot water, or we also have the mode of doing space heating or cooling plus the domestic hot water. Get discharge temps on this of 149 degrees Fahrenheit. Works in low ambient conditions down to -13. Also has an emergency backup heater already built in just to make sure that you never want to worry about the homeowner running out of hot water, especially in the middle of the winter, right? Very excited to release this year. Look for it probably around the April timeframe. This is going to be our new AHR high wall heat pump. It's known AHR globally, but it'll be known as the Sapphire here in the United States. Again, it's one of the new products that we just launched early at the AHR. and we're very excited with all the new compressor technology we've added into this. This is our newest Invo Plus high wall split system heat pump. It's close in performance to our current Vero system, but it utilizes a fresh air HRV kit to introduce fresh air into a home or office space, anywhere you need some outside air to keep the place fresh. Another great thing about these units is they have the integrated smart humidity control in them as well, which we're very, very excited about. We should see these about the April timeframe later this year. This is our new centrally ducted flex split system heat pump. It is a 24-volt control unit. Also has RS-485 communication for certain BACnet BMS systems. This is the Ultra version that we're releasing for A2L and R32. This should be available to us probably end of April timeframe. We're very excited about this. It's got a lot of improvements versus the original Flex. We're very, very excited to let this come out onto the market. This is our latest GMV MTAC product. It is a PTAC replacement that's much more efficient, much quieter, and provides much better comfort for all those applications where you currently have a noisy, outdated PTAC and you want something better, maybe for rebates, or you're just trying to get the human comfort and efficiency up in your application. So we're really excited to release this product. It's available now. Talk to our guy, Duane Butler, about this. He'll be glad to sell you one.
Thanks, Justin. Now in tech service, we get a lot of questions that would be answered by simply understanding how and when to perform a 4-point temperature check. I'd like to kick it over to Daniel Hamrick, who is again in our Atlanta training studio, to walk us through the steps that do just that. Daniel?
Hi, Daniel with GREE here at the training lab in Atlanta. We have a single zone system here that I want to show you the 4-point temperature check on. You see that I have the wall cover off of the indoor unit. The reason that we need the wall cover off is so that we can access the refrigerant lines before they go into the manifold of the evaporator coil. To do this 4-point temperature check, it's not going to be a complete test if we test near the flares or on the outdoor unit side of the flares. So as you can see, I have the temperature clamp already on the suction line of the indoor unit, and I have the temperature clamp on the suction line of the outdoor unit. It's running in cool mode right now, and it's less than 4 degrees difference between the indoor and the outdoor readings. Anything more than 4 degrees is a problem. There's probably a restriction or a kink or bend, too much of a bend in the pipe. Remember, we want to use tubing bender when we're installing our line sets. We know that the suction line is good. It doesn't have any restrictions. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the liquid line with my clamp on the outside unit as close as I can get to the outdoor. And also on the indoor unit, I'm going to move that clamp to the liquid line as well so we can get our reading there. So for this particular system, we know that the line set does not have any restrictions in it. We don't have to take the time taking the line set cover off. We don't have to remove the insulation to physically inspect it. Always remember that when we're troubleshooting a refrigerant circuit, always track your temperatures of your refrigerant. Don't forget that with any GREE mini split product, the line set is an extension of the indoor coil. So in the cooling mode, it acts as the evaporator, and in the heating mode, it's acting as the condenser. The reason that we refer to it as suction liquid is that's just what we're used to, but it's actually a gas line and a flash liquid line, basically. So that's how you do the 4-point temperature check. With GREE, we're by your side.
Thanks, Daniel. I think you did a great job of breaking that down for us. Audience, if you have any questions on what Daniel just covered, remember to submit them using the question mark icon to the right of your screen. As you know, we're coming off the 2024 Chicago AHR show. We thought it would be a good idea to hand the mic to Tatiana and have her capture the buzz with GREE and with heat pumps at this year's show. Tatiana, what did you hear on the floor at the AHR show?
What do you think about when I say the word heat pump?
Oh, it's a big thing now. Heat pump. Everybody talks heat pump. All the specialized journals, it's all about heat pumps, how good they are.
More green energy in the future. Yeah, Germany already now started all the new building. must be use the heating pump. So I think American will be more popular. Gonna have more opportunity.
I think about air conditioning and heating.
Heating and cooling. It's where the industry's going.
For me, it's the technology, the ultra heat technology. In the past, heat pumps were only useful in the South, where it was, usually above 30 degrees for the most part. And the ultra heat technology that GREE has come out with is able to work down to -31.
And what do you think about heat pumps?
I think they're a good system. They work in the applications that they're used for, so you really can't beat them when it comes to efficiency.
If you want to reduce CO2, the heat pumps are the solution, right? So that's why we're very pushing it, especially in Canada. There's a lot of heat pumps. It's everywhere right now.
Heat pump you can use for different applications. Right now I saw at the booth that you can use it for heating swimming pool, and then you can use it for air conditioning also. So you have heating and cooling, which is a dual function.
¿Qué tú piensas de heat pump?
Bueno, depende también de la estación o del país, ¿no? Por ejemplo, yo soy de Perú y la calefacción no es muy usada, pero sí el frío.
Energy efficient. The market is just demanding people for central cooling and central heat as a heat pump. They're coming, the efficiency gains. We see a lot of it in Europe especially, and just kind of getting that reiterated as we walk around.
When you say heat pump, I think about comfort. I think about, I think about cooling, I think about heating. And most importantly, I think about expansion. It's a business just like any other. But the most important thing is that it's beautiful to see it grow. It's beautiful to see a lot more electric efficient units out there on the market. I think it's going to change the world.
What do you think about when I say the word heat pump?
I think GREE.
GREE.
Yeah, GREE, yes.
Thanks, Tatiana. For me, that's a great reminder of how nice it was to talk to many of you in person at the show, and just how far heat pump technology has come since I got into this industry over 40 years ago. Speaking of this industry, I have with me a friend of mine and a gentleman who's been in the industry for a long time as well, Keith Clark from ICM Controls. Not to date you, Keith, but how long have you been in the industry?
Hi, Duane. 42 years this year. Long time. I can't believe it.
A lot of changes in that 42 years.
A lot of changes. Great industry, though. A lot of great people. And I've enjoyed all my time here.
So, Keith, as we get started today, why don't you do a little overview about ICM Controls and tell us a little bit about who ICM is?
Okay, sure. So ICM Controls was founded in Syracuse, New York in 1984, where they invented the two-wire time delay relay. Since then, ICM has added dozens of innovative products. They're completely vertically integrated. We've got engineering, design, full ISO compliant production facility, and ICM is really an industry leader in heating, refrigeration, air conditioning controls. At ICM, we take the raw board material, drill it, plate it, etch it, insert components. We do our own wave soldering, injection molding of plastics, laser engraving. We inspect every product we make, and we test every product before we ship and package it. There are no other manufacturers in the industry that do it like ICM, and ICM offers time delay relays, furnace boards, heating controls. We've got low ambient head pressure controls, line voltage monitors, surge protection devices, motor soft starts, defrost controls, fan controls, and more. I firmly believe that ICM makes the best products in the industry in our respective categories.
So a long history of protecting other brands and protecting equipment. So that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today is, as we see the industry's changing, the grid's changing, inverter products becoming prevalent with everything from dishwashers, washers, dryers, everything. So one of the questions I have specifically for you, ICM has a history of protection, history of controls, a long history, far before where we're at today. So they are ahead of in innovation, sounds to me like, with what you just talked about the production. Yeah. So can you tell us from what you see, why it's so important now that our customers consider and almost make sure they quoted on every job the need for voltage monitoring and surge protection.
Yeah, it's definitely a need, and one that we recognized a long time ago, because weather has always created issues with incoming power supply. Not to mention other things that can happen, anywhere down the power chain from the power generation company. They step up the voltage so it can run long distances, and then they break down the voltage at a series of substations. Any kind of anomaly can happen at any one of those points that can spike stuff down the line, dip voltage. A lot of problems can occur. Lightning strikes, car can hit a power pole. There's a million things that can happen to cause some of those issues. Even in commercial facilities where you have a large amount of equipment running, sometimes that equipment shutting down may spike other things on the line. So it's important to monitor that voltage. Most equipment is made to operate within certain tolerances, and in order to protect that equipment, we do have some products that help to monitor that voltage and protect the equipment if it's outside the parameters. Now, with the push to electrify everything, that's putting additional pressures on the grid, and equipment needs to operate within its design parameters to ensure the longest life. Electrical surges can happen anywhere in the power distribution chain as well. So you can have two conditions. One is voltage being outside, either under voltage or over voltage, and that's where the line monitor comes into play. You can also have transient spikes that occur. They're very rapid and occur very quickly. A line monitor is not designed to see that. A surge protection device is designed to take that hit, the heat that's generated from a transient surge, to internalize it to the device and dissipate the heat.
So Keith, it sounds like we need a device that will protect surge protections and line monitoring. They're two separate events. Does ICM have a control like that?
Yeah, in fact, we do. So ICM has a product specifically designed to protect inverter equipment from over and under voltage conditions and transient surges. It's our ICM 493 single phase line voltage monitor with surge protection. It's the best of both worlds in one device. Comes in its own NEMA enclosure. It's ideal for all inverter equipment. And we've got those in both the 40 amp and 60 amp contactor models. And they're fully field programmable. Lets you set min and max parameters for over under voltage. It has a 5-fault memory, so it'll tell you the exact voltage at the time of fault. And then the display also indicates the number of TMOVs you have remaining. So it has 5 on board. And then as TMOVs, if they get used up, it'll say you have 4 remaining, you have 3 remaining, and so on. These things are fully programmable. They can be set for auto retry or manual lockout if you desire.
So you just said something there that's kind of key. One of the things we talk to our partners about is doing preventive maintenance. So they could add this as a checklist on the preventive maintenance in this controller. The technician's out checking the unit. He opens it up and said, "Hey, it looks like you've had a couple events. You've got X, up to 3 more protections. Hey, this thing's protecting your unit, but how would we teach our contractors to add this into their preventive maintenance programs?"
Yeah, and it could be a device that helps them to sell more maintenance contracts as well. Homeowners would be able to see it, would be able to understand that exactly what it's doing. If there were faults on the line voltage monitor side, they could show them that on the display, and then it gives them some leverage to work with the power companies. The power companies are not always the most cooperative when it comes to that, but when you have an actual readout on the display, maybe they have a problem, with a transformer upstream or something of that nature, then it gives them actual legs to work with the power company and to correct those issues.
Good. So it sounds like, Keith, this is another way that our dealers can add value, that they're taking care of the homeowners. So, Keith, this has been a great interaction. I've got a lot of information. So, Keith, I think what we want to do is we're going to plan, partners, here in the near future, we're going to film a full 30-minute segment with Keith where he goes through their option and explains this control how to protect inverters. Keith, hey, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Duane. Appreciate it.
Okay, that's all we have for you today. So now it's time to answer some of your questions. So as a reminder, click that question mark icon to the right of your screen to submit your questions and comments, and we'll get right to them. What we'll do right now while we're queuing up the questions, let's show a short video. We'll be right back.
I'm James McIntyre with GREE, coming to you live from AHR Expo 2024 in Chicago. I'd like to talk to you about the latest MultiPRO ULTRA, brand new for 2024. This unit right here will outperform any heat pump. It will give you 100% heating capacity down to minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit. If you have a 3-ton unit, it will provide 36,000 BTUs at minus 22 degrees. Coming in 2024, we will have a dual fuel A-coil option. So you can pair this with the Ultra Heat unit so that you have your minus 22 heating, but let's just say it got colder than that, or if it was cheaper to run natural gas, you could use your gas furnace instead. So it's a very exciting product line. And if you have any questions, you got anything you want to look up, you go to GREEComfort.com. Also check out our other videos.
Welcome back. Great show today. A lot of great information from each and every one presented. And we thank you so much again for taking the time to join us today. So let's go ahead and take some of your questions related to, see what we got coming in the question in the chat. Let's see what we have. All right. So the very first question we have today is, what is the Tech 90 program? Daniel, I'm going to refer that one to you.
Yeah, thanks, Duane. So we're actually going to be launching a new, what we're calling Tech 90 tomorrow. It's 90 minutes of training and live training and Q&A. I'll be there live, and it starts at 11 a.m. tomorrow Eastern time. So look forward to seeing all of you there.
And that audience is for contractors, distributors alike?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. All right, thank you, Daniel. All right, the next question is for James. So James, you talked about the new GMV6 Ultra Heat and some of the exciting changes. Can you kind of just recover for us the difference in what has changed with the new MultiPRO Ultra Heat products?
Oh, sure. So with the new GMV6 Ultra, that MultiPRO product is much more efficient than the previous Ultra Heat products that we had. These are capable of providing 100% heating down to minus 22.
Yeah,
performing far better than other heat pumps. It's also highly efficient, up to 23 CO2, and so I mean they're just better all the way around. It gives you some.
So we're going to see higher efficiency, so higher CO2 rating than previous models. HSPF, I'm assuming, went up. COP still pretty good at the low ambient. I mean, I don't know if you can call it off your top of your head, but it's still pretty good. I mean, it's good.
It's still over 2.0 at minus 22, so it's still twice as efficient.
That is good. So is there any functional changes? I think looked like in your pictures, maybe some cabinet changes to it?
There are. The outdoor unit is now a C-shaped coil rather than an L-shaped coil as it was previously, so that just gives us better heat transfer than the L-shape that we had before. Functionally, it's been a lot of programming changes. The compressor is a bit more robust than the previous version of that. It's still using a two-chamber Ultra Heat compressor with the same Ultra Heat capability that we've got in our other products. It just does that a little bit better.
All right. Well, thank you, James. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right. So the next question we have is for Tatiana. So this question, Tatiana, is around warranty registration. So the customer says, where do I find it on the website? And do we have a help aid to assist in learning how to register our product? Tatiana?
Thanks, Duane. Yeah, we have it on GREEComfort.com. You go under, I believe it's distributors, and you go under warranty registration. You scroll down and you answer whether you're a GREE Select dealer or not, and it takes you to your warranty registration page.
Okay.
And if you're looking for more help on how to register, you can go to YouTube and look at the videos we have there. We have information about registering the product.
Okay. So the recap, so they can go under dealer on the website, drop down on how to register warranty. And then we also have a YouTube video they can find that shows you step by step.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
All right. Not to put you on the spot, but I want to make sure I understood it. All right. All right. So the next question is for Justin. All right, Justin, are there any new updates in the A2L transition after you've been to the HR show since we discussed it last month? Do you have any new updates to offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's been one major update to kind of talk about since the last time we talked about the A2Ls on Talking Comfort, and that is the EPA issued a statement or a ruling allowing companies to sell through existing 410A inventory for 12 months through 2025. Before that ruling, they basically said January 1st, 2025 is a cutoff. You can't sell any more 410A systems. Obviously, there's a lot of concern through the industry, and they did a study on it and said, the financial impact and everything is just going to be too great. So the EPA kindly came back and said, okay, we'll allow the 12 months to sell through existing inventory, meaning that if you have a 410A system that was manufactured before January 1st, 2025, you can sell through that inventory for 12 months. So make sure if you have it, sell it before January 1st, 2026.
All right, so let's look on. So, okay, this question is for Greg. Greg, you covered the connecting wired controllers today to a MultiPRO high wall. And the question is, can you connect multiple indoor units to one high wall, or multiple indoor units to one controller? And if so, how many indoor units can you put on one control?
That's a great question, Duane. Thanks. Yeah, so you can do up to 16 indoor units. They'll be wired in a daisy chain format, just like you would do for the communication wiring for the entire system.
Okay.
And then lastly, you got to make sure, and I always want to point this out, that they follow the instructions for that particular controller, because they do need to go in there and set that controller and tell it that it's controlling more than one indoor unit and how many it's controlling. They come factory set 1-to-1.
Okay.
So if they don't change that, then it's not going to control them properly.
So it's pretty easy in the setup menu. It just tells you to select how many is what you're saying to the audience.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I'm going to follow up question just for my own, just a reminder. When it's on the high wall, one controller, it's going to sense in the high wall, not at the controller. Each one will sense at the individual unit, correct?
When you got one controller controlling multiple, yes, it would sense at the indoor unit.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Greg. All right. Let's look at the next question. All right. So our friend Keith wasn't able to make it for ICM. So I'm going to read the question, and our Daniel, James, or Greg, if any of you know the answer, just one of you speak up. So here is the question. What is the temp rating, and is the outdoor, let me check this on. So, okay. So this is on the ICM controller. He goes, what is the temp rating, and is it outdoor rainproof, or is it in a weather-tight connector, right? A weather-tight cabinet, so it can be mounted outside? Do you know, Greg? Do you know?
Yeah, I can answer that. It is in a weatherproof box. It can be mounted outside, and then they have a 40 amp rated one and a 60 amp. So it'd be an ICM 493-60 is the 60 amp one. The ICM 493, nothing else behind it. That's the 40 amp.
Okay, so and I think the question here might be, in extreme outdoor ambient temperatures, do you know if there's any limit on, if it's like 120 degrees, if they're in the west, is there any outdoor limitations in extreme temperatures, either hot or cold? Do you know?
Not as far as I know. I mean, it's what I understand, it's basically gets wired right next to the disconnect. It's meant to be mounted outside.
Okay. All right. We're sorry he wasn't able to make it today, but I think you can go to their website and get that answered. And then next month we'll do a follow-up question and Keith will be on next month, and we'll take this question up again.
Hey, Duane.
Yes.
Real quick, I'll jump in. The outdoor maximum temperature on that 493 is 167 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
It's up to 167 degrees. I think we got other problems.
Yeah, we're good. How about low ambient cold outside, low ambient temperatures? Anything rated as far as cold?
Yeah, it can go down to negative 40 degrees.
Okay, well, that's good. I don't want to be either temperature.
One other thing I want to comment real quick. In March, the Tech 90 that we have is scheduled in March. We're going to actually have a video showing on an installation video, showing the installation and the setup of the ICM 493 with a GREE unit.
Okay. All right. So I think we got the answer. Then in March, on the Tech 90, this will be covered further. All right, so let's see. Any new questions coming in here? Let's see what we have. All right, so this is another question for Tatiana, and it says on the GREE Comfort site, where do I go to find help videos? What tab do I drop down to get to all the help videos that are on that we've created?
You can go to GREE Comfort / GREE Training, and we have all our videos on GREE Training. There also is a live calendar of where you can register for Tech 90. You can register for Talking Comfort Live, and what else do we have on there?
So basically, it's everything, even though we're going to set in the future, so the customers can go right to the website and see Talking Comfort Live, Tech 90, or any other thing. If you're going to do a marketing training, everything that somebody looks for, everything we've got training, we now have a master calendar for that.
Correct. Everything is there. The registration link.
And so is the registration link. So
Yes.
Good. So that makes a point that for all of you that are on the call today, shoot these registrations out and tell your friends and colleagues to join us, because we look for questions and feedback for you so we can get your answers. This is a way to interact with the technical team, the marketing team, and then independent products from third parties that we either are talking to or we want to make sure you know some of the things that we're interacting with. All right, so we're looking at, this question is about the error code tool on the website. So this is for Daniel. Daniel, where do we stand as far as getting all the error codes in the error code tool?
Thanks, Duane. So I'm really excited that we have been working really hard on the error code tool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new updates. We just recently added the H4, F1, F5 different codes, and so you can go to the contractor tab, go down to support, and under support on the drop down, you'll see error code troubleshooting tool. Take you right to it. Type in the error code. It'll give you a step-by-step instruction and tips and links to videos within it to troubleshoot any code that you may have.
Okay, so our internal team, are there any more questions in the chat? I see one more coming in. Do we have any more updates on the question? So this one is a group question. So the submitter would like to know that they were unable to attend the AHR show in Chicago, but they would like to know from each person in the panel what stood out to them most, or what experience or what new did they see at HR show that they think it's real important that the audience knows. So I'm going to start left to right. We'll start with you, Daniel, first. So you were at the show. Tell us what your take on. What did you see new? What was was there just something overwhelming that you saw that you think we should tell the group about?
So when I was there, got a chance to walk around. There's a lot of great new products. The biggest thing for me was checking out what the buzz was about A2L and any tools and products that they may have. A lot of different manufacturers are making the vacuum pumps and recovery machines that are rated for the A2L. And also one of the cool things was Yellow Jacket had a hose that is it's designed so that you can notice really quickly that it's a left-hand thread. So for the
great. So you saw some new tools. This is a reminder, if I'm that with the new refrigerant, the field techs are going to have to upgrade their vacuum pumps, their gauges. I mean, this is going to require some tool investments. What you're saying?
Correct. Not too much, but a few different things, some different gauges and whatnot.
All right. So Greg, you weren't able to make it, so we'll move on to Justin. So Justin, you're kind of was there surveying products. So tell me what stood out to you about the products that you saw as one, and a follow-up question. Can you kind of just reiterate what new GREE had at the show?
Absolutely. So I'd say probably the thing I saw most was all of the new air-to-water products. Saw far more air-to-water products this show than I have in the past. So that was kind of interesting. Now, as far as what GREE's doing for that market, we have our Versati 4 monoblock air-to-water heat pump. We talked about that earlier in the show. We're doing some testing on that, doing some finalization. I think we'll be ready to roll that out hopefully mid-April.
Okay, good deal. Thank you very much. All right, Tatiana, so from the marketing side and things in the industry that might help a business owner, did you see anything as far as tools or marketing aids that you'd like to kind of that really stood out to you?
I mean, what most stood out to me wouldn't help like the homeowners, but I did see a lot of great innovations and things that are coming. Really good booths that were great. Like they had a very good booth there, but you know, it's a marketing thing. I didn't see any tools, but as far as everything that's coming, it's really innovative, and a lot of, you know, good stuff is out there.
So a lot of dealer related stuff as far as connectivity, business management, service software, some of that kind of things, what you're kind of referring to?
Yes.
James, and you were there at the show, probably walked more than anybody. So give us your impression of what you saw at the show and what you think we need to kind of stress to our audience.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that you might know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm very excited with the amount of manufacturers that are doing cold climate heat pumps. You know, I'm glad that we can start having some apples to apples comparisons in the market for that.
Okay.
So that people have a choice on what they can choose. They're not choosing a heat pump made for, I don't know, Georgia or something. You know, they're choosing a cold climate heat pump. I have to point out that a lot of those are rated down to 5 degrees, which is, I mean, hey, good for them, you know. But they're newly developed products. You know, I was really excited about that. I just have to throw in the fact that we do 100% at minus 22, not 5.
Yeah, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. That's a game changer. So one of the things that we didn't talk about that was at the show is, and I'll kind of, you and I can talk about this, is that we released the future product coming, which is an A coil for the MultiPRO, so it can be put on another furnace. I think that's going to be a game changer. We're going to probably release that later on in the year, but there was a lot of buzz around dual fuel, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I for one look forward to nerding out a little bit, getting to hear that their furnace never really had to come on. I think that'll be an excellent thing. But having that backup heat, I think, is always something that people are comfortable with, you know.
Well, we'll do more training on the Ultra Heat, as far as some in-depth. We've covered it the last 2 shows, and James covered it in depth. So it'll be something we'll do more in the future. So, all right, let's go back to the chat and let's see what we've got, if there are any new questions that are in there. All right, new question just came in. Is the 3-ton Ultra Heat condenser a stack unit, which it means, or that a dual fan? Yes, it is. It is a dual fan unit. Everything we have in the Ultra Heat 3, 4, and 5 ton. Now, one of the things I want to point out, I think Jim's did in his video, before in Ultra Heat on MultiPRO, we only had a 3-ton and a 4-ton. Now we have a dedicated 5-ton. But yes, they are dual stack fans. So let me just kind of go through the chat again, see if there's anything that we are missing. All right, that looks like it. All right, my friends, thanks again for joining. We appreciate the panel. Great feedback from everybody. We'll see you next month. And thanks again, as always, with GREE, we're by your side. Thank you for the day.
Hey, thanks for watching Talking Comfort Live with GREE HVAC. Make sure to keep a lookout for an invite to our next show, or subscribe to our GREE Comfort YouTube channel to make sure you get notified anytime we release new content.